Small Garden Makeover, classic, romantic, and trendy design ideas. Small Garden Renovation is a journey that combines architecture, art, and lifestyle. When we speak of architecture, we often imagine monumental structures, cathedrals, bridges, towers. Yet architecture is not confined to walls and roofs. It extends into the landscape, shaping how we interact with nature and how spaces influence our emotions. A small garden, though modest in size, becomes a profound expression of identity, culture, and personal sanctuary. Every small garden begins with an understanding of scale and space. In a limited area, every detail matters. A single tree is no longer just a plant. It becomes a focal point, a vertical statement. A pathway is more than a surface to walk upon. It directs movement, frames sightlines, and tells a story. The arrangement of light and shadow, the circulation of air, and the orientation of views determine the atmosphere. Renovation does not start with imposing design, but with observation. Watching how sunlight shifts during the day, how plants respond to seasons, and how the garden feels at different hours. The classic approach to small garden design draws upon order, proportion, and harmony. In this style, space is often arranged with symmetry, balance, and focal points that convey dignity. A central axis might lead to a fountain or a statue. A brick pathway may align with the entrance, guiding visitors in deliberate rhythm. Durable materials, stone, terracotta, wrought iron, are favored not only for their timelessness but also for their graceful aging. In a small courtyard, a single symmetrical arrangement of hedges can evoke grandeur, even without vast expanses. Classic design teaches us that true presence comes not from size, but from proportion and detail. In contrast, the romantic style emphasizes atmosphere and emotion. Instead of sharp lines and perfect symmetry, it favors curves, softness, and intimacy. A winding path invites exploration. Roses climbing an arch create a scene of tenderness. Ivy covering a wall turns decay into poetry. The romantic garden thrives on mystery, hidden corners, shaded benches, unexpected bursts of flowers. Water, even in its smallest form, adds life to the scene. The trickle of a fountain or the quiet reflection of a bird bath introduces sound, rhythm, and movement. These elements engage the senses and invite lingering, offering not just a view, but an experience. Modern trends in garden renovation reflect contemporary lifestyles and the demands of urban living. Space is limited, so creativity must rise. One of the most significant shifts is the integration of indoor and outdoor living. Glass doors that slide open onto a wooden deck dissolve the barrier between house and garden. The outdoor area becomes an extension of the living room, equipped with lounges, fire pits, and even compact kitchens. Verticality is another powerful trend. When horizontal space is scarce, designers turn to walls. Vertical gardens filled with ferns, succulents, or herbs transform fences into living canvases. These green walls are not only beautiful but functional, providing insulation, air purification, and a sense of enclosure. Sustainability shapes nearly every modern garden decision. Homeowners increasingly prefer native plants that thrive naturally with minimal irrigation. Solar-powered lighting illuminates paths without consuming grid energy. Recycled wood and stone are used for decking and paving, giving character while reducing waste. Even water collection systems can be subtly integrated, turning a garden into a micro-model of environmental responsibility. The trendy garden is not just about style, it reflects a deeper awareness of ecology and long-term living. True artistry often lies in blending styles. A garden does not need to choose between classic formality, romantic emotion, or modern innovation. A well-designed space may integrate all three: the symmetry of a central path, the softness of flowering edges, and the boldness of a vertical wall. What matters most is that the garden reflects its owner. A family garden might favor open areas for children to play. A professional couple may prioritize relaxation and calm, while an artist might seek inspiration in ever-changing colors and textures. A garden, like a home, should speak the language of its inhabitants. The renovation of a small garden is ultimately more than a design task. It is a spiritual act, a shaping of atmosphere and memory. Gardens are alive. They grow, evolve, and transform with time. Unlike buildings, they breathe. This living quality makes them deeply personal. Across cultures, gardens have always held meaning beyond beauty. Japanese tea gardens create space for ritual. Persian courtyards symbolize paradise. English romantic gardens echo poetry. These traditions remind us that gardens are not decorative accessories, but reflections of human soul and culture. Looking ahead, the renovation of small gardens will continue to evolve. Classic proportions will always hold their timeless appeal. Romantic touches will always evoke intimacy. Modern trends will continue to bring innovation and sustainability. But at the heart of every garden lies a simple truth. Even the smallest patch of land can carry meaning, beauty, and life. With careful design, it becomes not just a place to see, but a place to live, to feel, and to remember. When the vision for a small garden begins to take form, the next step is strategy. A garden is not a random collection of plants and furniture. It is an orchestrated composition where each element plays a role in the larger performance. The success of a renovation lies in how structure, planting, and architectural accents come together to create harmony. The first principle is spatial zoning. Even in a compact area, division of space creates variety. One zone may be dedicated to relaxation, another to dining, another to planting. These zones do not need solid walls. They can be suggested with changes in paving, shifts in plant height, or the placement of a pergola. A deck of natural wood can define a lounge area, while gravel and stepping stones may guide the way to a garden door. Such zoning creates rhythm and makes the garden feel larger than it is, because it offers multiple experiences within a small footprint. Pathways are essential architectural elements. In a small garden, they must be efficient but also artistic. A straight path conveys order, while a curved path offers mystery. Materials matter. Stone gives permanence, wood brings warmth, gravel introduces texture and sound. Even a narrow path can become a design feature when edged with low herbs or illuminated with subtle lights. A path should never feel like a leftover strip. It is the backbone of the design, guiding both movement and perception. Planting schemes form the living architecture of the garden. Classic arrangements often use symmetry: 2 olive trees framing an entrance, a pair of boxwood spheres anchoring a corner. Romantic planting, on the other hand, layers textures and colors, blending perennials with climbing plants and allowing borders to overflow naturally. Trend-driven planting focuses on sustainability: drought-tolerant species, edible gardens with herbs and vegetables, and natives that thrive without heavy maintenance. The best schemes combine structure with softness, a backbone of shrubs and trees filled with seasonal layers that change through the year. Color plays a critical role. In small gardens, too many colors can overwhelm. A restrained palette brings unity. White flowers against green foliage create calm elegance. Soft pinks, purples, and blues introduce romance. Bold oranges and reds add vibrancy, but must be placed carefully. Foliage is as important as blooms. Variegated leaves, silvery tones, and deep greens create depth, ensuring the garden remains beautiful even outside flowering seasons. Light and shadow also shape perception. Plants with delicate textures glow in sunlight, while glossy leaves reflect evening lights. Vertical structures expand the possibilities of design. Trellises, pergolas, and green walls turn bare surfaces into living architecture. A pergola not only supports climbing plants, but also creates an outdoor room, filtering sunlight and framing views. Trellises along fences soften hard boundaries and add privacy. Vertical gardens maximize greenery in limited footprints, allowing ferns, succulents, or herbs to thrive on walls. These structures elevate the garden literally and visually, making the small space feel layered and multidimensional. Water features bring movement and sound. In large estates, they may appear as ponds or streams, but in small gardens, simplicity is key. A ceramic bowl with water lilies, a wall-mounted fountain, or a narrow reflective pool can transform atmosphere. The presence of water cools the air, attracts birds, and introduces a sensory dimension that goes beyond sight. Combined with lighting, even the smallest water feature can create magic at night, reflecting light and shimmering with motion. Furniture is another critical element. It should not overwhelm the garden, but it should invite use. A compact dining table, a pair of lounge chairs, or a built-in bench can provide comfort without clutter. Materials should align with the garden's identity. Wrought iron for classic formality, wood for rustic warmth, minimalist metal for modernity. Flexibility is valuable. Foldable chairs, modular benches, or cushions that can be stored easily allow the garden to adapt to gatherings or solitude. Lighting transforms the garden after sunset. It extends usability and reshapes atmosphere. Path lights ensure safety, uplights highlight trees or sculptures, and lanterns add romance. In small spaces, subtlety is best. Too much brightness destroys intimacy. Warm tones create comfort, while cooler tones emphasize modern sleekness. Today, solar-powered fixtures and LED systems allow sustainable, low-maintenance solutions that blend technology with design. Sustainability deepens the meaning of a garden. Renovation is not just about aesthetics, but responsibility. Rainwater harvesting can supply irrigation. Composting turns waste into nourishment. Native plants reduce chemical use and attract pollinators. A garden that respects ecology becomes part of a larger system, reminding us that beauty must coexist with care for the environment. Even the smallest garden can become a sanctuary for birds, bees, and butterflies, enriching not only human life, but also biodiversity. Personalization elevates design beyond trends. A sculpture, a handmade mosaic, or a family heirloom incorporated into the layout tells a story. A garden is not a showroom, it is a reflection of the people who inhabit it. A reading corner under a tree, a hammock between posts, or a painting wall for children. All these personal touches ensure the garden is lived in, not merely looked at. Technology increasingly enters the world of garden design. Smart irrigation systems adjust water flow based on weather. App-controlled lighting allows mood changes with a touch. Sensors monitor soil moisture, ensuring plants remain healthy with minimal effort. These innovations align with contemporary lifestyles, where convenience and efficiency are prized. Yet technology should serve the garden, not dominate it. Its role is to support growth and comfort without overshadowing natural beauty. The renovation of a small garden is, therefore, a layered process. It balances structure with spontaneity, tradition with innovation, utility with poetry. Each choice, whether of path, plant, furniture, or light, contributes to a composition that is greater than the sum of its parts. A well-designed garden does not simply occupy space, it transforms it into an experience. As the design takes shape, the space begins to tell its story. A story of heritage through classic elements, a story of emotion through romantic details, a story of modern life through contemporary trends. And at its heart, it is always a human story, a dialogue between people and nature, permanence and change, form and feeling. The final stage of small garden renovation is the art of continuity. A garden does not end when the design is finished or when the plants are placed. It lives, evolves, and transforms with time. This dynamic quality requires a vision that extends beyond the present moment, anticipating growth, change, and the flow of trends that will shape the gardens of tomorrow. Maintenance is the first dimension of continuity. A small garden is easier to manage than a large estate, yet it still demands attention. Pruning, watering, fertilizing, and cleaning are not chores to be rushed through, but rituals that nurture life. The act of caring for a garden deepens the relationship between people and space. Each season brings tasks: spring planting, summer watering, autumn harvesting, winter protection. This cycle creates rhythm, reminding us that beauty requires effort and patience. Without consistent care, even the most beautifully designed garden fades. With care, it matures gracefully, becoming richer with each passing year. Time also transforms design. Plants grow, furniture weathers, materials age. These changes can either enhance or diminish the garden. A stone pathway softened by moss becomes even more poetic. A wooden pergola darkens with time, blending naturally with the landscape. A rose bush given years to expand becomes a fragrant arch of memory. Renovation must anticipate this transformation. Designers select materials that age gracefully, plants that mature harmoniously, and layouts that remain adaptable. In this way, the garden does not freeze in time but becomes more alive as the years unfold. Trends will continue to evolve. What is fashionable today, vertical gardens, outdoor kitchens, sustainable technologies, will be joined by new innovations tomorrow. Gardens of the future may integrate smart ecosystems, where irrigation, lighting, and climate are managed seamlessly by artificial intelligence. Rooftop gardens may become more common in cities, turning unused urban surfaces into vibrant sanctuaries. Edible gardens may expand as people seek closer connections to their food. A successful renovation is not locked into one era, but flexible enough to adapt, absorbing new ideas while preserving its core identity. Cultural influence is another dimension of continuity. Gardens are shaped by history, geography, and tradition. A classic European courtyard with its symmetry and stone tells a different story than a Japanese Zen garden of gravel and bonsai. A Mediterranean patio with citrus trees and terracotta speaks in yet another language. In the future, cross-cultural blending will continue to inspire design. Small gardens may combine Japanese minimalism with Mediterranean warmth, or English romance with modern minimalism. Each cultural layer enriches the vocabulary of design, offering endless possibilities for creative expression. Psychological impact cannot be overlooked. A garden is not just a visual pleasure, but a refuge for the mind and soul. Studies have shown that time spent in green spaces reduces stress, improves mood, and enhances creativity. In small urban environments, gardens are not luxuries, they are necessities for well-being. The sound of water, the scent of flowers, the texture of leaves all stimulate the senses, offering moments of peace in a world of constant motion. Future design must prioritize this role, ensuring that even the smallest gardens serve as sanctuaries of mental and emotional balance. Community is another element that emerges from small gardens. While many are private, some become shared spaces, courtyards, rooftops, or neighborhood plots. These spaces foster social interaction, connection, and a sense of belonging. They remind us that gardens are not only personal but collective. They hold the potential to strengthen communities, encourage sustainability, and build a culture of care for the environment. Renovation in this context extends beyond the individual home and into the shared urban fabric. The role of light deserves special attention in the future of garden design. Sunlight is the original architect of every outdoor space, shifting angles and intensities throughout the day and across seasons. A garden that embraces these changes becomes dynamic, offering different moods at morning, noon, and dusk. Artificial lighting, meanwhile, continues to evolve, with energy-efficient and customizable systems that shape atmosphere at night. In the coming years, light design will grow more sophisticated, allowing homeowners to craft experiences as dramatic or as subtle as they wish. Material innovation also points forward. Recycled composites, sustainable wood treatments, biodegradable containers, and smart textiles for outdoor furniture are only the beginning. Tomorrow's gardens will rely less on extractive resources and more on circular, renewable solutions. The elegance of a small garden will not only be measured by its beauty, but also by its ethical footprint. Design will increasingly reflect values as much as aesthetics. Personalization will remain timeless. No matter how many trends emerge, a garden must always reflect its owner. It may be a place of quiet reflection, a stage for entertaining, or a playground for children. Renovation should leave room for personal stories to unfold. The vine planted on a wedding anniversary, the tree grown from a seed collected on a journey, the bench where generations gather. These elements make a garden more than a design. They make it a living memory. The future of small gardens lies in their ability to blend permanence with change, tradition with innovation, beauty with responsibility. They remind us that scale does not define significance. A balcony with potted plants can hold as much meaning as a vast estate. A courtyard of 10 square meters can reflect centuries of tradition, personal dreams, and modern aspirations. Renovating such spaces is not only about design, but about creating a dialogue between human life and the natural world. In conclusion, small garden renovation is an art that begins with vision, unfolds with design, and matures with time. It embraces the balance of classic structure, romantic emotion, and modern innovation. It invites us to participate not only as designers and caretakers, but as storytellers and guardians of living beauty. The smallest garden, when crafted with care, becomes limitless in meaning, a timeless space where architecture, nature, and the human spirit meet.